Did you know that the Backbone doesn't support haptics or even basic rumble? It's number 3 on my list of 5 more reasons to think twice before buying a Backbone that I'm going to lay out for you right now. So let's get right to it. The first reason is that the Backbone is straight up not usable for Android users who want to use it with the official PlayStation Remote Play app. Now this isn't the Backbone's fault, it's Sony's. For some reason, the Android version of this app exclusively supports first-party Sony controllers, like the DualSense and DualShock 4. For all of you viewers who have been asking me if there's a PlayStation edition of the Backbone for Android, here's why I've been saying no. My guess is that there won't be a PlayStation Backbone until Sony reverses course on this decision. Now, you can definitely use Remote Play with the Backbone and third-party Android apps like PSPlay, which you can buy in the Google Play Store. Some of these even offer enhancements like custom gamepad layouts and tablet support, but it comes at the cost of a more complicated setup process. I can't vouch for this app because I'm an iPhone user, but it seems to have positive reviews. Again, this isn't the Backbone's fault, but if you're an Android user and you were thinking of buying a Backbone mainly to use with the PlayStation Remote Play, stop immediately and go check out PSPlay or similar apps. Some of my viewers have already been burned by this issue, so I wanted to make sure you know what you're getting into before you spend your hard-earned cash. I'll put the link to the PSPlay app in the description so you can find it easily. The next reason are some nitpicky design issues. If you've watched my first video on 5 reasons not to buy a Backbone, you'll know I highlighted some design issues already. But after using the Backbone even more, and after reading the comments you've left about your experiences with the Backbone, I now know of even more issues. One of them is the loud, clicky face buttons. This isn't a huge problem, but if you plan to play next to your significant other in bed, these buttons might get you into trouble. Personally, I'd prefer if they were a bit quieter. Those face buttons also have some wobble to them. If you're a stickler for a rock-solid face button, this may bug you. Look, the wobbly face buttons aren't the end of the world for me, but I know it's something the button enthusiasts among you will look for. Speaking of buttons and triggers, these shoulder buttons are a bit thin and the triggers could have some more travel. Hey, I told you these were nitpicky, but these days I've been mainly swapping between the Steam Deck and the Backbone, and the shoulder buttons and triggers on the Steam Deck are just so much better. The shoulder buttons have a nice subtle curve to them and the triggers have a nice amount of travel. The Backbone just can't measure up in comparison to the Steam Deck, which is becoming really well known for its ergonomics. Back to the Backbone, the analog sticks are a bit small, and if I'm really splitting hairs, they don't have Hall effect sensors to help reduce stick drift over time. Are Hall effect sensors in your analog sticks really necessary? Well, that's up to you to decide. If you haven't bought a Backbone yet but would like to, there's an Amazon link in the description. Your purchase using my affiliate link supports the channel, so thanks so much in advance. The third reason is the lack of haptics and rumble, which I mentioned off the top of this video. Before I rag on the Backbone too much for this, I wanted to mention that I understand that haptics could be really tricky to implement for a few reasons. One is that some mobile games come with their own rumble support, but they do it by vibrating the phone. So if you're playing, say, the Pathless, the game vibrates the phone at certain points. If you're using the Backbone when this happens, know that the controller had nothing to do with the rumble. It all comes from the phone. But if the Backbone had its own rumble support, I'm guessing something would have to be developed to cancel out the phone vibration and let the controller take over. Sounds tricky to me, and I'm not sure if it's worth it to the engineers who built the Backbone. But if you're someone who outright needs haptics or rumble in your controllers, the Backbone just isn't right for you, and you need to know it. And before we move to the next issue, I just wanted to ask you something real quick. Are you getting something helpful out of this video? Because if so, I'd like to invite you to click that subscribe button. And if you're not ready to subscribe, I get it, but a like would be just as meaningful to me. The fourth reason is the lack of truly advanced features. Okay, I'm being nitpicky again, but the competition for the Backbone is heating up, and some of its competitors are dropping devices with some truly interesting and advanced features. For example, the GameStar X3 has this wild cooling system, and the GameVice Flex has the compact mode for added portability. Meanwhile, the Razer Kishi V2 has dedicated customizable buttons. If any of these features are important to you, the Backbone is starting to look like the lesser option. I can only hope that a new rendition of the Backbone is in the works that incorporates some of these features. And imagine if they included things like back pedals or a built-in battery to charge your phone. We'll just have to wait and see how they respond to the competition. And as for the Backbone's existing advanced features, like 1080p 60 FPS video recording, built-in Twitch streaming, cross-platform voice and text chat, or public game lobbies, they're cool, but they're locked behind the Backbone Plus subscription service. And that takes us to our final reason, which is the general lack of communication around the requirements for using this device. So if you've watched my other videos, you'll know I've ranted many times about Backbone Plus, which is a $39.99 per year subscription service that unlocks the features I've just mentioned and more. But only recently did I realize what bugs me so much about it. It's because I didn't feel informed about the subscription service before picking up a Backbone. And why would I? It's not mentioned anywhere on the main page of the Backbone website at the time of this video's post-production. I mean, sure, Backbone Plus is a menu item in their navigation, but most buyers won't even know what Backbone Plus is or why they should click on it until they buy the device, drop their phone into it, and are greeted with a request to pay up. That was my experience. Sure, buyer beware and all that, but the Backbone website doesn't do a good job of making buyers beware, and that seems a little off to me. So if my videos have helped educate even a few people before they make a purchase they regret, then I consider that a success. Hey, maybe that's you. And here's another bonus reason for why you should think twice before buying the PlayStation edition of the Backbone, which is officially licensed by Sony. If you're looking for a phone controller that is a one-to-one analog of the DualSense, this controller isn't it. Sure, it has PlayStation face buttons and a coat of white paint, but this controller is missing crucial features like adaptive triggers and 6-axis motion sensing. The PlayStation games that use these features, particularly Astro's Playroom, will be hampered by their absence. So if you want to play games using remote play with the Backbone that use these features, you should know what you're getting yourself into. Look, I've said it many times, but I think the Backbone is a fantastic device for a lot of reasons, despite its shortcomings. And I know a small number of the people who view this video will be angry that I made it, because they love the Backbone so much. And in a lot of ways, I love it too. But I also know that a ton of you are making buying decisions about the Backbone, and these are things you'll want to know about. So I hope you get a lot out of it. And if you haven't yet seen them, check out my other videos on the pros and cons of the Backbone by clicking on one of these video cards. Chris from Late Stage Gaming, out.